Hello again and welcome to another highly questionable Tuesday. This is Jemele Hill. We love having her around here. What do you like on the show today, Jemele?
Man, we have so many surly coaches in today's show. Why are they mad all the time?
Dale, papi.
Is Odell worth it?
Again, my father reads the question without ever looking at the computer screen. It's an amazing gift that he has. Maybe you guys can rewind it and show how he wasn't looking at all at the computer screen while just looking at you. Odell Beckham just got $95 million, $65 million of it guaranteed. And I think we all know that the only way that this guy isn't a surefire Hall of Famer is either health or the after party. And I don't think the after party is going to get him. This is as good a receiver as we've ever seen, doing more at his age than any receiver has. You pay him his money.
Chris Rock once infamously said that a man is only as faithful as his options. So what other option did the Giants have other than paying Odell Beckham Jr.? Do you know how difficult it is for a wide receiver in New York to be the marquee name basically in that city and for this particular franchise? I mean, he's become such a huge star for a sport that was basically built to make sure that football players were anonymous. Look, I know all the partying and everything else. A lot of people wondered were the Giants reluctant to pay him. I think all of that was just smoke and mirrors. They knew they had to pay this guy because he's the best offensive player that they have, the best player, period.
Imagine if he had the real quarterback. His price would go to about $200 million or something. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it is kind of true.
A little bit.
Do you think the Alabama team needs to know who their starting quarterback will be?
What a weird thing this offseason where Nick Saban simply steadfastly refuses to tell anybody what his quarterback situation is going to be. And we keep asking him, and he keeps getting mad, and we keep asking him, and we all know it doesn't matter because when it comes to Nick Saban, the single best thing on his resume, a resume that might be the best in the history of college football, is he not only wins, he does it, and it doesn't matter who his quarterback is, and it won't matter this year either. Their players at all the other positions are a lot better than the guys that they're facing, and they cover up the quarterback position.
As somebody who used to cover college football, and specifically Nick Saban, college football coaches are so annoying about who's starting at quarterback. And I realize this is a unique situation, but Nick Saban is treating this like he has the nuclear launch codes. This is a quarterback battle. And I get it's very unique because you have Tua, who helped you win a national championship. You have Jalen Hurts, who has an impeccable record as a starter. I can honestly believe that Nick Saban really may not know who should be a starter. I do know this. The one thing I like about this situation is that he's pretty much publicly said that whoever he chooses, he will see this all the way through. That's important because I can't imagine if you're one guy and thinking you're one bad play away from being replaced by somebody who has won a national title, because that's the situation.
I ask you guys this, though, and think about it for a second. I tell you right now that both of these quarterbacks have collided into each other in practice and are out for the season. And I tell you, Alabama's not going to go with their third stringer. Yes or no, you think they'll be in the Final Four? Because they're going to get to the Final Four even if neither one of these two guys plays.
Was Gregg Williams out of line?
I love the idea that Gregg Williams is back in the NFL. If you don't know anything about Gregg Williams was at the head of Bountygate. He was banished from the league. Then we all end up learning that he is in Cleveland as the defensive coordinator because he says that their top pick got injured because of stupid tackling. And Hugh Jackson isn't having any of that.
Gregg doesn't get to do just what he wants to do. I mean, so we'll work through all of that. But our players got it. There's a certain way we do want them to tackle because of size, structure, and all that. We don't want a guy to get hurt or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure Gregg does advise, but we don't need to do all that stuff in the media.
This is why coaches very often will not let their coordinators speak in public because they don't want to be dealing with these kinds of controversies. But Hugh Jackson, as if his life wasn't bad enough, that's one victory in 2 seasons. Let's give you a defensive coordinator who's mouthy, and let's give you an offensive coordinator who's Todd Haley. Good luck with that, Hugh.
Gregg Williams was born out of line. He is the definition of habitual line stepper. So I'm not surprised that he made these comments. But I ask people to consider this. What if it would have been the other way around? Often whenever players criticize coaches, they're accused of undermining their coaches, not submitting to authority. And here you have a coach publicly call out a player amidst a league that has just redefined what tackling is or is redefining it on the fly. So I think it was an unfair shot for Gregg Williams to take. And Hugh Jackson was well within his right to check his coach publicly so that he knew what that felt like.
So what's the big deal about how you tackle with the Browns. They're going to lose anyhow.
Oh, that's right. What do they know about tackling? Bad tackling, good tackling,
That's
any kind
actually
of
kind of a
tackling.
fair point.
All they know about is losing tackling. Tackling that ends in losses.
Does Jerry Jones make a compelling case for an 18-game season?
I mean, the case is greed, right? It's that he's greedy and he wants more money and he's a great businessman. And if they have more games and fewer preseason games, the ones that matter, he can charge more for them and there's more revenue for everybody involved because there are more games. All of us would go for 18-game seasons, except for the players whose bodies are forced to go through 18-game seasons. This has to be collectively bargained, and I can't see a league that's already complaining about Thursday night football going for something like this.
So my biggest problem with this is at the same time the NFL is trying to push for more player safety, they're also calling to expand the regular season. And at what point does the NFL get to a point of saturation? I think that's kind of an issue now. And even though Jerry Jones is talking about cutting 2 preseason games, at what point has this league reached its peak where people are tired of football? I know it seems impossible when you look at the preseason ratings, but I think there's something to be said for less is more in order to keep your product in a particular position.
You know, if Jerry wants to play more than 16 games, maybe he should try to make the playoff.
That's one way to do it. That's win a playoff game, and then you too can have 18 games in a season.
That's right. Is Des Bryant making a mistake waiting for a contender to come calling?
I have been surprised at the precipitous decline of number one receiver Des Bryant before the age of 30. I'm assuming that has to do with foot injuries. I'm assuming that has to do with a lack of speed and breakaway speed to open up his routes. But when he is sitting here saying to himself, and I don't know what his offers are, I don't want to do this with preseason, and I don't want to do this for a nobody. I want to do the next 3 years of whatever is in my feet and my career. I want to do them for a winner, and I don't want to go through training camp while doing them. I wouldn't blame any football player for wanting to sit out training camp and get healthy when the real violence starts.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dan. I remain baffled at his entire situation. I can't figure out if he's indeed Brett Favre it, as in I don't want to go through the preseason, as you said, and I just want to show up when the games really matter. Or is there a certain stench on Des Bryant? Look, I know people have castigated him for being a hothead, and they feel like he undermines his teammates and maybe even his quarterback. But if you talk to anybody with the Cowboys, they swore that he is one of their best competitors. And look, I know he doesn't have the breakaway speed he used to, and I know he's been through a lot of injuries, but is that really enough to the point where he can't even make a roster? I've seen receivers that have slowed down, who have been past their prime, who people still see as valuable and as commodities. Anquan Bolden comes to mind. He was 178 years old, but people still wanted to sign him because of the other leadership qualities he provided. So I'm wondering, is there more to it with Des Bryant beyond him not being the receiver that he used to be?
You must have some good advice for Des.
Why?
No team ever wanted you.
Oh, there it is. Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
That's true. That's true.
That is actually true.
That's a thing that's true.
No team did want you, Dan.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
Oh, I still think this is a fake. And this cannot be
You didn't
physically
think that was
possible.
real?
I'm hoping it's not, because human beings shouldn't be able to do that. But there's a part of me that wonders, will this be one of those things that we find out weeks from now or months from now that this was all a ploy, that this was all fake? I pray that it's not, because it's one of the best videos I've ever seen.
What a weird thing to pray about.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I should have done this years ago.
Disclaimer, traveling back in time is physically impossible unless you know how to build a functioning time machine. Then by all means, travel 25 years back in time, switch your car insurance to Geico. You could save a bunch of money. While you're there, please prevent your younger self from wearing that sleeveless tuxedo t-shirt, parachute pants, and glitter high tops to your senior prom. And at long last, rectify this horrible crime against nature. Geico is absolved of all liability if you destroy the fabric of time and space.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Time to play the game that needs to get his back whacked. Time to play the game that needs to get his back waxed. Do you question?
You give us topics and events, and we question them.
Really? Really? It's a sensual shaking.
Do you question if Mourinho deserves more respect?
Oh, this is one of the best coaches in the history of football, and he will remind you of it. He's got a lot of cocky swagger, but he had a bad home loss. He's on the hot seat. He loses 3-0, and the press is coming after him, and his response is great. I wish Belichick would do stuff like this.
So you keep trying and trying and trying and keep trying and keep trying.
Okay.
Now, just to finish, do you know that what was the result? 3-0. 3-0. Do you know what this means? 3-0. But also mean 3 premierships, and I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them.
That's right.
Respect, man. Respect, man.
Those were almost literally his last respects. He's probably not going to have a job, and he's walking out of the room taunting the media.
See, that's what happens when you are officially fresh out. And what I love is that the media, they're still going back and forth with him. I wish I could have covered press conferences that entertaining when I was an actual working journalist, so to speak, because that guy is fantastic.
We need more like him.
3 championships, you know? Who cares about 3 championships? You know, LeBron has 3 championships, and he has lost about 6 or 7
Okay,
times.
well, there you go. How many times did Mourinho lost out there?
That's
Is he
right.
the
That's what
LeBron
matters.
of the Premiership?
Do you question if Adam Eaton made a great play?
All right, Adam Eaton is a right fielder. He is playing right field here, but I want you to watch Wilson Ramos. He's coming off of first base. He's not fast to begin with, but as an added bonus, he's also injured a little bit. So here is Eaton. And, Ramos isn't moving real good. Yeah, that is exactly how I ran the bases throughout high school. Just like that. That is about the same rate of speed that I would move. That's a horrible feeling, to look back and know that you can't get anything from your turbo booster.
Yeah, but what I'm wondering is who told him he should have gone to third? Right? Like, why would you do that when you know that the guy is injured? And Dan, I see what you did there. Way to take Papi's joke from him. Way to get to it ahead of time.
Thank you, Jamel. Maybe we could just move on to the next question so he doesn't make fun of my high school base running.
What do you know? You never got on base.
No, that's not true. I'm glad you like that so much. No, that's not true. That's not how it ended. I will tell you the truth, and this is the truth. In high school, my last baseball game, I was coming off of first, and the ball went to the backstop on a wild pitch, and the catcher took it and threw me out at second. And that's when I left baseball. That's the truth. It's more embarrassing than that, but at least it's the truth.
That's the opposite of Al Bundy and Pokai. Just want you to know.
I got thrown out by so much.
Yeah, he said he wasn't lucky. He blamed the wall, you know, and the ball hit the wall.
I did blame the wall. The ball, I couldn't believe how fast it got back to the catcher. It wasn't because I was slow. I was in denial for a while.
It should be an open field, you know. Do you question if Sal Giardina is too excited?
This is a Mississippi Brave. He is a relief pitcher. We have reached the bottom end of the barrel on your sports entertainment. We go to the minor leagues, a bullpen, a relief pitcher. What's he doing?
Bullpen Sal is sprinting in from the bullpen.
Oh, my. That Forrest Gump form right there.
Oh, that is exactly how you run into. When you have a mustache like that, that is how you run. Absolutely. This guy loves his attention. Yes. Yes.
That's Ron Jeremy territory right there. The mustache. The mustache. Be very clear about that.
Ron Jeremy's mustache making an appearance on the show in a way that's totally disturbing.
Well, I have seen you run that fast before.
Oh, really? Here we go. Jamel's laughing too hard at the ice cream truck joke. I mean, push-up pops. They're delicious. Push them up. They're delicious.
Papi, that is cruel. But funny. That wasn't really you, was it?
Yes, it was.
That was really you.
That was really me. The part that wasn't real is that there was no ice cream truck. I know that you believe that.
What the hell were you chasing?
I was just running a race. I was not chasing anything.
He was chasing the ice cream.
I was not chasing the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
My father put the ice cream on the bumper of a truck, and I was just running after it.
Do you question if this is useful training?
Taekwondo kids. Jamel liked this video. She's seen it already. I haven't. What's happening here in South Korea with these kids in Taekwondo? More like Cirque du
Wait,
Soleil.
oh!
Pretty impressive there, though.
It's like Junior Jason Statham's training all at once. Oh, I still think this is a fake. And this cannot be physically possible.
You didn't think that was real?
I'm hoping it's not, because human beings shouldn't be able to do that. But there's a part of me that wonders, will this be one of those things that we find out weeks from now or months from now that this was all a ploy, that this was all fake? I pray that it's not, because it's one of the best videos I've ever seen.
What a weird thing to pray about.
It's just so mesmerizing.
It is. It really is hypnotic. Did you notice our just long silences there? Just sort of disoriented and mesmerized by people who would get beat up by actual fighters.
Well, not everyone can do that.
Not anyone can do that.
Uh-oh.
Is he just going to hurt his elbow?
Oh.
Ouch.
Oh. Nice cornrows, too.
Oh! Ouch. Okay.
That's gonna leave a mark.
Oh. Wow. You are incompetent, dude.
Right. You might want to find another sport.
I mean,
really.
Something else.
Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that would have sorted into Hufflepuff. See? Oh, no.
You tell us what to watch on television tonight. We tell you if we're intrigued. Was that Harry Potter? Do you know what Harry Potter is?
What a Hufflepuff?
Hufflepuff.
Okay, very good.
That's the word of the day.
On WGN, Mets and Cubs.
Oh, John Lester has one of the weirdest short circuits that you'll find anywhere in sports. He can't really throw to first base. He can't really pick people off. So this happens sometimes when he tries to pick people off.
Whoa.
Yeah, because people know that he's short-circuited this way. But let's check in with what happened last night, because people take big leads on him. They tempt him. What happened last night?
Ontario getting a little bit more. If he doesn't get back, though, Contreras is going to pick him off. There's the throw, and they've got him.
Oh, what happened?
Look at that.
Look at that. Listen to all those cheers from those Cubs fans.
Right.
Our pitcher, who's paid more than any other pitcher that we have, can successfully throw it to first base. Hooray!
Wow. Way to overachieve, John Lester. Way to overachieve.
Jamel, are you intrigued?
No, unfortunately not. Dan, you blew it. You just showed probably what was the most entertaining part of this series. So why should I watch tonight?
Really? That's the only thing that you can find interesting in Cubs. This isn't a real baseball fan. We got a counterfeit baseball fan on our hands. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Are you kidding me? It's going to be hell of a pitching duel tonight. It's going to be the Graham against Hummels. You know what I mean? Two of the top pitchers in the majors. You know what I mean? It's going to be a hell of a game. You know, I don't know. It might go to 15 innings or be no hit, no runs. You know, you never know how these things work out when you got those two pitchers like that on the mound.
Who are they? Who are the two pitchers?
The Graham and Hummels.
Hummels.
No?
Close
enough.
That's all right.
Close enough.
Streaming online, a crazy goal by the Georgia Swarm box lacrosse team.
I mean, okay, streaming online means they just want to show you a video of a crazy goal. SportsCenter used it, put it in the top 10 plays from yesterday. What do we have here? Wait a minute. How big?
Did he do this?
Well, never mind. How did he get it past that big a goalie? That goalie is giant. That is a giant goalie. You need to be paying more attention, giant goalie. Jamel, are you intrigued?
I'm here for a giant goalie. I know that much. So you sold me. Wherever you're streaming, I have no idea.
Why don't we just get like a 1,000-pound man and put him in front of the net? Nobody would ever score. Papi, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. That goalie is big, but I have seen bigger.
You've seen a bigger goalie?
Jamie, did that go off the far pipe and back under Alex, or did he make a clean set?
Oh!
There you have it. There you have it.
Wait a minute.
That's not a goalie. That's a transformer. What is that? What's
a transformer?
On HBO, The Shop.
Oh, LeBron is doing some interesting things already in Hollywood. He is lining up shows and he's producing stuff. Let's check in with the barbershop here with Maverick Carter.
In the barbershop, there's going to be one guy that's not even going to get a haircut.
You've been here since 8 a.m. It's 6 o'clock in the afternoon. You still ain't got your haircut?
And he's sitting on the couch and he's like, you next? No, I'm good. I hear my daughter sometimes say, I can't. Yes, you can. Don't ever say you can't do something.
To hear you say that to your daughter, that means a lot to me.
Black people are more respected outside of America than they are in America.
That's interesting.
Oh, that's a fact.
That's a fact.
Now kids can look up and be like, what LeBron said.
No matter how much influence you think you got in America, you African American, it doesn't matter.
Humankind is tribal in nature. What would unite us as people? If aliens came.
He's using his power in interesting ways. Jemele, are you intrigued?
Absolutely. I actually had the pleasure of sitting in on one of these sessions before. And for a superstar LeBron's caliber, for him to be that candid, it is truly unique and special. It's going to be worth the watch.
My father didn't like that so much. He's praising LeBron while also name-dropping her time at a barbershop show. Papi, are you intrigued?
See, I'm very intrigued. Well, I see he chooses the wrong place, a barbershop. He got no hair. What hell he goes to do in the barbershop, you know?
Whoa.
It's bull.
Whoa.
Nothing to you in the back.
No one is safe, Papi. No one is safe.